Is this the best 3D printer for cosplay? Let's talk about it. So when I started my 3D printing journey back in 2023, I was looking to find the best 3D printer for the most budget price because, you know, 3D printing is expensive. And I spent ages looking around trying to find the best 3D printer that would give me the best bang for buck that I could just throw prints at and build a load of different cosplay pieces. And I ended up settling on what I have now, which is the Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro. I got it on a great sale, and it was probably one of the best purchases I've ever made. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. No, but seriously, I went looking around for lots of different printers, and the printer I have settled on is the Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro. So before we talk about the printer, let's just have a quick background on my cosplay history. Obviously, like a lot of people, I started cosplay by getting things out of my closet and turning them into costumes. From there, I progressed into purchasing some bits and pieces and putting together slightly more complicated closet cosplays, and then from there we got into the holy grail of cosplay, which is foam smithing. And I built loads of costumes out of foam. In fact, the first armor build I ever did was a foam Nightwing, which I'll put here. Look at me, I look so silly. Anyway, then we moved on to bigger foam pieces. We did Red Hood, we've done the Punisher, and then we did my Robin, which still to this day is probably one of my favorite costumes I've ever built. And that was all built out of foam. So you don't need to get into 3D printing to take part in cosplay. Just have a look what's inside your cupboard and you might be able to put a cosplay together. I decided after taking a long break over, you know, those years of 2020, which was 900 years, I decided to jump into 3D printing because I really wanted to build a Mandalorian. I'd done a Mandalorian with Sintra before and I wanted to give it a go at 3D printing. 3D printing is a very uncomplicated, complicated hobby. It is a hobby in itself, and it's something that's going to take a little bit of time. But I mean, I didn't know anything about 3D printing when I started, and now I can troubleshoot, I can fix settings, I can get textured things out. Like, I've just gotten to a point where I'm really comfortable with 3D printing, and that's all it takes. It takes a little bit of time. There are thousands of people on YouTube that can help you out. The two biggest ones I love watching are Frankly Built and the 3D Printed Nerd. They're fantastic in terms of teaching things about 3D printers, and I've learned a lot from them over the years. Why do I like this printer? Firstly, it was pretty easy to put together. It comes semi-assembled out of the box. You just have to put a few things together, attach some fans, a screen, and just put up the brackets at the top. It was super simple. I'm a pretty crafty person, but I've seen people that have no sort of electronics or crafting skills put one of these together. It's really simple to put together. The first print went really well, and since then it's kind of just chugged out loads and loads and loads of different prints. It's got hundreds of hours on it. I have put together and 3D printed pretty much every cosplay I've done in the last 2 years. Like everything you see behind me, that was printed on the Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro. These Batman gauntlets that I recently made for my Red Hood costume, Neptune 4 Pro. This Daredevil helmet that I just test printed the other night, that doesn't quite fit me, printed on the Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro, and even came out with this beautiful, beautiful texture, which you probably can't see on camera, but that also came out on the Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro. As you can see, pretty much all my stuff came out on the Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro. There is like 1 or 2 exceptions in my cosplay repertoire which has been printed on something else, and I can't see anything right now, but everything has come through on this tiny little printer that costs, you know, $230. I've even seen it go as low as $200. Now, we live in a world of bamboos and Crealities and lots of Core XY printers, which I would love to test out and have a go at printing with, but they're quite expensive and they're bigger and they take up a lot of space. My little Elegoo sits in the corner and it kind of just doesn't take up much space. It's pretty quiet, it's fast, and I haven't really had a massive amount of troubles. It has not been trouble-free, because there have been some, but we've had no enormous things that have just meant I haven't been able to print ever again. I mean, I literally printed on it the other night. So why do I think this makes such a good cosplay printer? One, well, it is pretty easy to use. Two, there's a lot of people using it and there's a lot of troubleshooting when something doesn't go right. Three, it is cheap. Like in terms of printers, it's quite cheap. $200 gets you a whole lot of printer compared to what it probably got you 5, 6, 7 years ago. The printer's just really fantastic and I've really enjoyed using it. Like I said, it's pumped out like loads of stuff. When you're buying a printer for costuming and cosplay, people always think, oh, I want to go the biggest printer I can, all this kind of stuff. Yes, I cannot print full helmets, although all of these little mini helmets you can see behind me were printed on there. Full helmets you cannot do. You're going to have to slice up your helmets to fit them on the build plate. But to be honest, my TIE Pilot helmet was printed in about 9 parts and it looks, in my opinion, fantastic. Don't let the size detract you. Look at more the price, because the price is fantastic. And overall, it's just been a wonderful printer. So let's quickly talk about a couple of the issues I've had with this printer. So I've had 2 major issues with this printer since in the last sort of 2 and a bit years that I've had it. The first issue is that the bed, the heated bed died. I don't know what happened. Well, actually, story time. I think I do know what happened. One day my printer just stopped being able to heat up when I was ready to go and print something. Now, I spent ages pulling things apart, checking nothing was corroded, checking all the wires were connected, and nothing seemed to have worked, and I just could not get it to heat up and could not print. Now, I spoke to Elegoo via email. They were super helpful, and they got me to try a load of different things, and in the end, they just sent me a brand new heated bed, along with a video on how to replace the heated bed, which was super great. Now, why do I actually think this happened? I used to have my printer to the side of my desk, which was also a little space where I used to do a lot of crafting. Now, as I've mentioned before, one of the techniques I use for joining together 2 3D prints is a soldering iron. I may or may not have left the soldering iron on for longer than you should leave a soldering iron on, and it was resting right underneath my printer, you know, where all the connectors for the heated bed are. So I think that one may have been my fault. But Elegoo was still fantastic, still helped me out, and managed to get it all working again. The second issue, I had one, in 2 years and genuinely hundreds and hundreds of hours, I had one catastrophic clog. I got the big blob of death on the hot end, and Elegoo sent me a video on how to not even replace it, just remove everything and clean it. And guess what? That took me about an hour and a half, and I was back up printing again. So is this the printer that you should buy? Well, I think it's pretty great. If you're looking for a budget conscious printer that just can pump out prints, then yeah, I think it's pretty good. Are we in an age where Core XY printers are becoming much cheaper? I mean, I'm looking at Elegoo's Core XY printer that's coming out soon that looks like it's going to be under $500. That looks amazing, but this is $200 at the best of times. And I don't think you're going to find a better printer for this price that just is rock solid. I know people have had their issues with Elegoo and the Neptune 4 series, but I haven't had really many massive issues with it, and it has chugged out everything. In fact, I'll show you. I've got 3 boxes of cosplay stuff over there, and they were all printed on the Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro. It has put out countless Mandalorians, Batman pieces, Daredevil, all kinds of stuff, and it's just been rock solid. So if you are looking to get into cosplay this year, because it's always a great time to get into cosplay, and you're looking to get into 3D printing, then have a look at the Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro, because I think it's been fantastic. So there's a little bit of a babble about 3D printing and how I got into 3D printing and what my 3D printer is like. I want to this year talk a little bit more about getting people into cosplay, and obviously still keeping up with my Star Wars and DC and all that kind of stuff, but also a little bit of a sit down and talk about what cosplay is, how do you get into cosplay, because I feel like there's not enough people talking about it, and we want more people in the community because it is a lovely community to be part of. But I hope you enjoyed the video this week. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time where there's something very exciting happening. I hope you have a great week ahead. Happy crafting and goodbye.